Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Too tall for me. I just can't find the way to get him. Anyway, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim wa salatu wa salam ala ashraf al-Mursaleen alhamdulillah rabbil alameen. My topic is a little difficult to even express myself, considering what our brothers and sisters in Palestine are going through, what brothers and sisters and also students are going through here in the United States of America, land of freedom. And today, I was just listening very quickly. Someone said something about Trump. And I just could not believe people who are actually indicted for being criminals running for office in this country. That tells you a lot where we are now. And not only that, but they are accusing others who are speaking against genocide that they are either liberals or they are terrorists, right? And we need to deport them, right? So he thinks Americans should be deported just because they have to speak against tyranny. He is a tyranny himself. Really, he is a tyranny himself, and many others. You know that our First Amendment right allows us to speak and to protest against occupation, oppression, stealing land, committing genocide and ethnic cleansing by brutal Zionist regime. Simple, right? And we know that Israel is not waging a war against Hamas. It is exterminating a Palestinian identity, and it's done on purpose. It has been doing this for 75 years, it's still doing it, right? But our dissent is about human rights, humanitarian law, international law, that Israel has been violating with a blessing from the US. It's clearly. A Canadian journalist, Naomi Klein, says, Zionism is a false idol taking the idea of a false claim to the idea of promised land and turn it into a deed of sale for militaristic state ethnostate. And an ethnostate, it's clearly that's what Israel is doing. The Jews are horrified, that's what he said. The Jews are horrified what Israel is doing to their religion, and is used a license to kill by Zionists. There's a Jewish man saying that. This movement of Zionism is at all levels. It's corrupting our system for decades, corrupting the political process, the economic process, and the mind with lies and inhuman approach to destruction. And it's manipulating to rob Palestinians of their land. So let me ask you a few questions, and we can all answer them. How can we imagine senators writing to the International Court of Justice, threatening it for issuing an arrest warrant against Netanyahu? Could you imagine someone here threatening a judge in the US legal system? He would be in prison, right? Is this normal? Is there any justification of killing 40,000 people, most of them children, and destroying a whole nation? And we are okay with it? Is this normal? How is the crime, the killing of 40,000 people, most of them children, is anti-Semitism? Is this normal? Israel is committing a heinous crime, then the House passes a fabricated anti-Semitism legislation for speaking out against it. Is this normal? How can a senator say, nuke Gaza? Is this normal? How can public officials, law enforcement, and universities ignore the killing and starvation of Palestinian population without any remorse, then turn themselves into monsters with the Zionists using violence against peaceful student protesters also the professors, profiling them, expelling them for expressing their First Amendment right. Is this normal? Are we dreaming? How could companies and law firms, judges themselves, refuse to hire peaceful protesters and dismissing their existence, and those people that are being dismissed for speaking out? Is this normal? This is the new normal? Is this the old normal? This has always been normal for Zionists, but now it's wide in the open, right? Lately, I was watching the Hunger Games series. I truly felt I was watching the current events. Think about this. Go back and watch it again, and you see what I'm talking about. Now, legislators are trying to pass laws to suppress dissent on behalf of foreign nations committing genocide. The weaponized false narrative of anti-Semitism is wrong and deceptive for many reasons, and I'm going to give you some. And I'm trying to be as simple as I can, because the law, obviously, on this matters are very complicated. But they know because it's complicated, they're trying to, it's like drugging the whole nation. It's unbelievable. First, protesting against Israel committing genocide against Palestinians is not anti-Semitism, but a right under the Constitution. It is also telling the truth about the reality on the ground, right? You know, the Arab Palestinians, the Arabs, are Semite, right? They're being exterminated through inhumane and despicable war machine and hunger. Enacting legislation against protests is not only anti-Semitism, but it is fascism, right? Also, the legislation fosters Islamophobia, which is on the rise as we speak. Why students are asking to divest from Israel? Most of the donors in Ivy League schools are Zionist, right? They give the money, they get the tax deduction, the money goes to Israel, comes back, right? Invest, making that nation really strong and have the healthcare. By the way, our taxpayer money is giving healthcare to every Israeli citizen, where we don't have a good health system, where most of the people are bankrupt because of health system. So think about this. Who are the people who should be deported? I mean, who are those people who should be deported? Think about this. The corrupt government cannot change our constitution, for sure. It does. If it does, we have recourses before the Supreme Court and many other courts. The Constitution cannot be clearer when it stipulates Congress shall make law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or the press or the right of people peacefully to assemble and to petition the government to redress grievance. Isn't that what the students are doing? Right? First Amendment right of the Constitution passed by Congress in the 18th century on September 25, 1789, and ratified December 15, 1791. One of the 10th Amendment of the Bill of Rights, the First Amendment gives everyone residing in the United States the right to hear all sides of every issue and to make their own judgment about those issues without government interference or limitations. Everything is done is being wrong. We are violating our Constitution with impunity, and we feel so proud of it, and we call ourselves a democratic country, right? Think about this. We are running towards fascism. That is not a democratic country as we speak. And we hear some people saying, yeah, let's take them out. Let's clean up, just the way they clean up Gaza, right? And Kushner want to have condos in Gaza. They want to clean up now universities here in this country. That's what they want to do. The right to speak under the First Amendment right has been interpreted widely to protect. That's the Constitution. Individuals and society from government attempts to suppress ideas and information, to forbid government censorship. And that's exactly what they are doing. It's against everything that the Constitution believes in, right? And what we stand for. The Supreme Court reaffirmed that the right to receive information is a fundamental right protected under the US Constitution. The First Amendment right, again, protects the right to exercise those freedom and advocates respect for the right to others to do the same. It's okay, you're free to say whatever you want, we're free to say whatever we want, right? But what do you see? What do you see? Zionists are victims. Yeah, they are really victims. Who is the victim here? People living in the United States have the right to resolve their differences in values and belief by resort to more speech, not enforce silence. That's the Supreme Court. I don't know if you know Jeffrey Sachs, a prominent professor at Columbia University. A few days ago, I was watching his YouTube when he had an interview with the judge. And he was talking about the critical cracking down on students. And the YouTube video was called US being ruled by criminals. He spoke about the First Amendment right and the deceptive and unconstitutional proposed legislation that puts chilling effect on the First Amendment right while allowing mass murder of Palestinians. Ironically, you know what's happened? I went back to see it today. That video is gone. It doesn't even exist. Censorship? Unbelievable. Is it unbelievable? Do you believe that's... Is that a dream? Do we live in the United States of America that propagates freedom of expression, First Amendment rights? And we go and we criticize Russia, we criticize this, we do this. And we have someone like Trump. I mean, it's unbelievable. Talking about people to right to protest and saying something about them, those are criminals that we need to get rid of them. Who's the criminal? Right? I will conclude by saying genocide denial is exactly similar to Holocaust denial. It is anti-Semitism and Islamophobia. I'm sure they don't even know that Arabs are Semite too. They issue legislation anti-Semitism, right? Suppressing the First Amendment right is a tyranny and fascism. It is against our Constitution. Our public officials are serving another country committing mass murder against civilians. Now they are sacrificing our right to save a foreign nation. We should not stop speaking. And we should not stop speaking out and peacefully protesting. We should protest for a change. We need to challenge any legislation. We should protest for the change and challenge any legislation. We need to challenge legislation that attempt to stifle our right under the Constitution. We should seek court intervention against brutal suspension, dismissal for expression and for dissent, our dissent against genocide. Finally, the truth will always prevail, and Palestine will be free. It is a matter of time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.